The Lakeside Meadows HOA had the nerve to demand $250,000 in fines for supposed violations on the Montana ranch I inherited from my grandfather. 5 years of fabricated infractions, $175,000 for unmaintained property, $50,000 for unauthorized agriculture, $40,000 for improper fencing, plus $85,000 in legal fees and penalties they conjured up. The audacity was almost comical until I discovered they'd built luxury homes on my land. I'm Nathan Harper, a 35-year-old software developer turned unwilling rancher, and this is how I took on a powerful HOA board with deep county connections who thought they could strong-arm me into submission. When they tried to erase my grandfather's legacy, I didn't fold. I turned their scheme into a public reckoning that rocked Lakeside Meadows to its foundation. 6 months ago, I was in Portland, coding for a tech startup, pulling 6 figures, living the city dream. Then the tech bubble burst. My company collapsed overnight, no funding, no severance, just our CEO's defeated face in a final Zoom call. Portland's crushing cost of living loomed, and despite firing off hundreds of applications, I was lost in a flood of laid-off developers. 2 weeks into unemployment, a call from my grandfather William Harper's lawyer changed everything. At 89, he'd passed, leaving me, his only grandchild, his 100-acre ranch in Lakeside, Montana. We'd been close when I was young, fishing in the creek, riding horses through the meadows during summer visits, but adulthood had pulled us apart. The 15-hour drive from Portland stirred memories of mending fences with Grandpa, his stories of our family's land, held since the 1950s. But when I arrived, the sight beyond the familiar fields, barn, and modest ranch house stopped me cold. A sprawl of identical mansions, Lakeside Meadows, a gated community that didn't exist in my childhood, encroached on the horizon. The house was a time capsule, Grandpa's coffee mug in the sink, his armchair by the window, a half-read book gathering dust. The emptiness hit harder than I expected. While sorting through his papers, a knock broke my focus. Clara Thornton, a wiry woman in her 70s, a neighbor for decades, clasped my hand tightly. "William was a good man, stood firm against those snakes," she said, nodding at a white envelope wedged in the door. I thought it was a condolence note. "They've been hounding him for months," she added. "Probably broke his heart." The letter, from the Lakeside Meadows HOA, laid out the $250,000 in fines and threatened a lien within 30 days. "This is absurd," I said. "The ranch isn't part of their development." Clara scoffed. "That's Evelyn Baxter for you. The HOA started building 5 years ago, kept expanding. William wouldn't sell, so they claimed his land, saying he violated their rules." "How could they claim my land?" Clara pointed me to a folder in Grandpa's study labeled Boundaries, hinting at evidence he'd collected. Hours later, I found Edo-worn manila folder with a 1952 survey map, recent surveys, photos of old fence posts now inside Lakeside Meadows, and Grandpa's notes questioning boundary shifts. The new surveys had shaved 10 acres off our land, now occupied by 15 mansions and half the HOA's clubhouse. Sleep eluded me as I grappled with selling versus fighting. Grandpa's journals, detailing his struggle against the HOA, steeled my resolve. "Some things," his voice seemed to whisper, "are worth defending." With Clara's encouragement, I headed to the county records office, a faded brick building in town. The clerk, Martha Reynolds, a local who remembered Grandpa, confirmed his suspicions. "He was here often, certain the HOA's boundaries were off," she said softly. She showed me the 1952 survey. Our land extended 300 yards into Lakeside Meadows' newest phase compared to their 2019 survey, which conveniently shrank it. "Can I get an independent survey?" I asked. Martha nodded. "I'll call Tom Brennan, the best surveyor, no ties to Evelyn. He's free tomorrow." Her help felt almost too easy, but she smiled. William had friends here. Tom, a gruff man in his 60s, arrived at dawn, setting up equipment with few words. We walked the property for hours, his measurements confirming 10 acres, including homes and the clubhouse, were mine. "Strong case," he said, promising a notarized report. "Get Carl Grayson in Billings, me cousin, tough lawyer for land disputes." Armed with Tom's report, I marched into the Lakeside Meadows HOA office, a sleek lodge with a waterfall in the lobby. The receptionist, all gloss and contempt, tried to stonewall me, But the evidence got me into Evelyn Baxter's corner office. Mid-40s, in a tailored suit, her sharp bob and cold smile radiated control. "A pleasure, Mr. Harper," she said, not standing. William resisted progress. "I hope you're more practical." I slid the survey across her desk. "You've built on my land." Her smile tightened. "An outdated survey. Our plans were approved by top firms." "Firms you pay," I shot back. She leaned back, amused. "2 days in town, and you're throwing accusations with old maps? Pay the fines, or we'll lien the ranch. Or sell to us fair price, win-win." Her tone sharpened. "A coder like you doesn't belong playing cowboy." How did she know my job? Furious, I left, her words echoing. Clara, waiting at the ranch, explained Evelyn's playbook. "Buy ranches cheap. If owners resist, pile on violations." "William held out," she said. "I'm not selling," I declared, surprising myself. That night, I called Carl Grayson, who warned Evelyn was ruthless, with deep pockets. "This'll cost you, but building on your land? That's fraud." I prepared for the HOA meeting, open to non-residents, held in their clubhouse ironically on my land. The space screamed wealth, stone fireplaces, mountain views. Evelyn presided, flanked by her jittery lawyer, Leonard Price. After tedious debates, I stood. "I'm Nathan Harper, William's grandson. Your development, including this clubhouse, is on my family's land." Murmurs spread. Evelyn, smooth as glass, called me emotional, dismissing my survey. I countered with the 1952 map and Tom's report. "You're living on stolen land." Leonard warned of libel, but Rachel Coleman, a 40-year-old environmental lawyer and resident, demanded the surveys. "If our properties are illegal, we deserve answers." Evelyn deflected, but Rachel's notes and whispers among residents hinted at cracks. Post-meeting, Rachel handed me her card. "Coffee shop, tomorrow, 9 a.m. Leonard shoved a cease and desist at me, upping fines to $300,000. At coffee, Rachel got to the point. "Evelyn's shady. HOA fees fund her fights, not improvements. Prove she has no authority over your land and built illegally, and her control crumbles. Her plan, gather misconduct evidence, expose it to residents and regulators." Rachel introduced Miguel Alvarez, a former lakeside worker who quit over shady practices. "Evelyn ignored boundary issues," he said. "I flagged markers. She replaced me. Her new surveyor cleared it. Miguel's cousin in records could dig discreetly, and he knew others with stories. Clara connected me to Sheriff Dan Wheeler, Grandpa's fishing buddy. Evelyn runs this county," he admitted off record. "I'm neutral, but I'd love to see her fall. Our strategy: contest fines, then reclaim the land." Miguel provided a statement. Dan stayed impartial. We sent a letter challenging the fines, prompting Evelyn to have Dan deliver a public nuisance citation for my boundary signs. "She's worried," he whispered. "Calling commissioners to crush you." Evelyn's press conference painted me as an agitator threatening property values, casting herself as a champion of progress. Posing as a buyer, I got contradictory sales documents. Rachel's FOIA request uncovered survey amendments, shrinking my land. Miguel found emails proving Evelyn knew of boundary issues but altered records. The local paper, tied to Evelyn, ignored our story. I launched a Truth About Lakeside Meadows Facebook page, posting evidence. Residents questioned HOA spending, some shared private complaints. Rachel's group challenged Evelyn's board control. Evelyn offered $1 million for my land. I declined publicly, demanding fine cancellations and boundary truth. A reporter, Jessica Lee, from a Billings paper, wrote Paradise Stolen, exposing Evelyn's tactics. It went viral, fueling outrage. Evelyn sued me for $500,000 in defamation. At a preliminary hearing, Judge Ellen Parker, a fair woman in her 60s, ordered a court-supervised survey, suspending fines and liens. Evelyn, panicked, offered $2 million. Tempted, I dug deeper and found Grandpa's hidden 1975 water rights contract with Western Water, now owned by Evelyn's Summit Development. It proved she knew the true boundaries and owed royalties. In her office, I presented it. "You knew you built on my land," I said, recording. She sneered, "I've built an empire. You're nothing. I make problems vanish." Montana's one-party consent law made her words dynamite. At a public meeting on my land, 100 residents heard our evidence, including her recorded admission. Evelyn's interruptions were drowned out by the crowd. I proposed, cancel fines, Evelyn resigns, lease the land fairly. Residents, fearing property loss, agreed. The HOA voted to oust Evelyn, elect Rachel, cancel fines, and lease the land. Evelyn sold her stake and vanished, her tactics sparking broader investigations. I kept the ranch, turning it into the Harper Agricultural Education Center with lease income, honoring Grandpa's dream. New zoning laws blocked future disputes. I found purpose not just saving land, but building a future. A sign by the gate read Grandpa's motto, "Never underestimate a rancher with an old map."